Hey guys, thank you for watching Slappy's Garage. Right here is my 93 FXR. And I was going to do one more content over the winter. It's been too cold, but I took this thing and turned it into this, plus the exhaust. But now we're going to go into what I actually did to get everything to work. And it's a little special because these bars are not something you could go buy in the store. So check it out coming up now. So getting started, I loosen all the bolts on the old exhaust to take it off. I start by taking the muffler off first, then the header. I just have everything loose so it's not too hard to do. After that, I steal the exhaust from my dyno because I'm running something new on that eventually. So this is not going to be any use this year. And then I get this V-twin manufacturing bracket. So now I have to make a mount from the bracket to the exhaust itself. So to get this mount from the exhaust itself, I tighten the header to the exhaust pipe and then put a spacer here to get the idea of how far off the bike I want to go. I find this piece of aluminum that's a 30-second last, but I can make it work and use that as, I think it's a 1/4 inch or 5/16 aluminum. I measure my center to center holes. It's about 1.5 inches. I made it a little too tight because I didn't move these to give it a little wiggle room for when I make the exhaust mount. So these are my markings, original ones. I take a number 7 bit, going to a 1/4 inch to bore it out. Then I'm going to take a countersink so I can get a nice taper head and make it nice and flush so it's nice and tight to the bike. And after I do the countersink, I realize my countersink is too small, so I take a bigger drill bit, just drill it down a little bit so it's going to sit flush in the end. Now that my bolts are nice and tight and everything's mounted with the new holes I made, I'm going to mount this exhaust back up to the bike, and then I'm going to put a bolt going through the exhaust mount with a little bit of paint on it. So when I tap it in, it's going to show me the exact center I need to do to make my exhaust mount perfect. I'm going to drill that out, the same process, 7 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to put the countersink and with the drill bit, pour it out a little bit. So everything's going to be nice and flush and this plate's not going to stick out anymore with bolt heads. All set and done. Now I'm going to take a red Sharpie while everything's mounted up with the bolts in. I'm going to mark out roughly where I'm going to go. And I'm going to take a pencil and just brighten up these marks and get an exact measurement of where I want to go. And cut to the pencil mark, not the red mark. That was just a rough idea of where I want to go. And the pencil mark is exactly where I want to go. So I'm just going to chop this video up. Everything's sped up and throughout this video just to make it easier for your viewing. And once that's done, I'm going to move on and go to grinding. I got these pads off of Amazon. They're not on the video yet, but they'll be there in 2 seconds once it's all cut out with a bandsaw. Now with the bandsaw, it's going to be a very rough shape, so you want to smooth it out. Sometimes use a grinder. I like using the die grinder, nice and easy to handle in my hand. I'm going to smooth out all the edges and then deburr everything, make a little chamfer so everything's nice and smooth. It's not really sharp. It's not going to cut you when you install it. And then after all this is said and done, I realize it's going to still be a little too tight because that 30-second I took off when I put this plate on. So I'm going to take the grinder and grind it down a little bit. And to smooth that a little more, I'm going to put a file there and make everything nice and flat. And then once that's all done, I'm going to smooth it out with the color. Just with a Scotch-Brite pad that's on a drill. This is a fair pad. It works very good for this, and it just gives it a nice uniform finish. Moving on, we're going to go on to the saddleman seat. I got this thing off Facebook Marketplace for an absolute deal. I'm very pumped to have it. So I take all the original hardware off the seat and take the back pad off. The seat drops right in. All the hardware lines up to where it should be. So I'm going to install the latch on first, and then after that, I'm going to put the hinge. Now, I didn't realize this hinge is actually removable. So I'm going to start putting it on, and I realized I could slide it off, and it makes it much easier to install it. Just tighten it up, and it's ready to go. Now that's all locked into place, I'm going to go back onto the bars and risers. I'm going with the 6-inch riser. I'm going to remove the buttons and the controls off the bike first, and then I'm going to remove the bars. Now, it's better to loosen the risers before you remove the bars because the bars hold the risers in place and they can't spin. That was my problem. So after I took these bars off, I put that top clamp back on just to remove the riser bolts.
So if you do that first, it's better off. But I did it, and here's how I did it. Just putting it back up, putting them back off, pull them off, loosen the clamp again, take the clamp off, and then I'm going to add these 6-inch risers. So now with the 6-inch risers, I got a 2.5 bar going on top of it. And I think it had a 12.5 back sweep. These are right between Thrash and Aggressives and the regular bend bars from other brands. So I call them my passive aggressive bars. I've custom made these myself at the Yard Rat shop. And it was a very insightful experience to do that. If you like the full video of me making these bars, go ahead and comment below and tell me that you want to learn how to make these bars. Now we put them into a program, got everything set up. I get them to about where I want to set them. Put the top clamp on, and if you want to set these and forget these, you're going to sit on the bike and actually put them where you want, then tighten them. So now I made these bars. I marked everything out. Use a little bit of blue tape to make sure everything's perfectly circle. So I have a mark going on the whole bar. I marked this throughout the whole bar. It's cut the exact length that I need, and then I start bending. Now, every single bend is going to be a little bit different. You're going to kind of get the rebound off the bender. That's all using the bender itself. Every bender is going to be a little different. I got my idea of how to do it, did it, and if you want this full video, make sure you do comment because it's a lot more to explain than I want to put into this short video of me working on my FXR.
Thank you guys for watching. I have much more going into this bike. This is only the tip of the iceberg. This is going to be a real solid little ripper, and I have to do a lot more than I really want to do in the beginning to get to where I want it to be. But I like being anal and doing more than I really should be or anything that's necessary. So thank you for watching. Check more out coming up on the next video.